In 1941, a worker at a locomotive factory in Schenectady, New York, grabbed a piece of chalk and scrawled 2 words on the front of the biggest steam locomotive ever built: Big Boy. That name stuck. The locomotive shipped west, and for 85 years, it never came back east. Until 2026. Union Pacific Big Boy 4014 is making its first return east of the Mississippi River since it left the factory, under its own steam. If you want updates as this tour develops, subscribe and hit notifications. But first, let me tell you what's actually happening. Let's put this machine in context, because the numbers alone don't tell the story. 4014 is a 4884 articulated steam locomotive, 132 feet and 9 inches long. With its tender, it weighs 1.2 million pounds. It runs on 24 wheels, holds a boiler pressure of 300 pounds per square inch, and produces over 6,000 horsepower. 25 of these were built between 1941 and 1944, not as a prestige project, not as an experiment, but as a direct solution to a specific operational problem on one of the most punishing stretches of railroad in North America, the Wasatch Range in Utah. Before the big boys, Union Pacific needed 2 locomotives to haul 3,600-ton freight trains over those mountains. The big boys did it alone. The railroad didn't just buy them, it rebuilt bridges, tunnels, and turntables to accommodate them. 4014 entered service in December 1941, the same week America entered World War II. For the next 2 decades, it hauled heavy wartime freight and post-war cargo across the West. When dieselization swept the industry in the late 1950s, the steam era ended fast. 4014 was retired in 1961, donated to a museum in Pomona, California, and sat static for 52 years. Then, in 2013, Union Pacific reacquired it. They spent roughly $50 million and several years restoring it, converting it from coal to oil firing in the process. In 2019, 4014 returned to steam for Union Pacific's 150th anniversary. Every trip since then has stayed in the Western Territory the locomotive originally served. What's happening in 2026 is different. This is new ground, literally. The 2026 Coast to Coast Tour takes 4014 east across the Mississippi River for the first time under steam since leaving the factory. It will run on Norfolk Southern tracks through Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. Accompanying it are UP 844, running as the Abraham Lincoln, and UP 1776. Now let me walk you through the stops that are worth rearranging your schedule for. Omaha, Nebraska, May 30th. This is the first major public display day of the entire tour. Free access, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Display days are where you get close, real close. Nicholson, Pennsylvania, June 13th. The Tunkhannock Viaduct is a massive concrete arch bridge, one of the largest ever built when it was completed in 1915. On June 13th, 4014 crosses it at 240 feet above the valley floor. There is almost no way to describe watching a 1.2 million pound steam locomotive cross a bridge like that from below. Find a vantage point in the valley and be there early. Steamtown National Historic Site, Scranton, Pennsylvania, June 15th and 16th. This one is ticketed, so act early. Steamtown already houses Big Boy 4012 as a static exhibit. On June 15th and 16th, 4014 pulls into the same yard. 2 big boys, one operational, one preserved, in the same location for the first time in decades. There is no other event on this tour where you will see that combination. Book it before it sells out. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, July 4th and 5th. The United States turns 250 years old on July 4th, 2026. Union Pacific is marking that by positioning 4014 on display near Independence Hall, the building where the Declaration of Independence was signed. You can take or leave the symbolism, but the logistics are straightforward. This is a major display day in one of the most historically significant cities in the country, on the most significant anniversary in American history. If you're in the Northeast, this is your anchor stop, Altoona, and Horseshoe Curve, Pennsylvania, July 8th through 11th. The Pennsylvania Railroad built Horseshoe Curve in 1854 to conquer the Allegheny Mountains without a tunnel. The track bends 220 degrees around a curved hillside, and when a long locomotive rounds that curve under steam, you see the entire train at once. 4014 is 132 feet long. Do the geometry. This stop runs 4 days, which gives you flexibility. It's one of the best documented railroad landmarks in the country, and 4014 will be running through it, not just sitting next to it. Here's how the full tour breaks down regionally, so you can plan around your geography. Nebraska, May 25th through 29th. The tour builds through the state, with May 28th being a particularly strong day for whistle stops along the route. Iowa and Illinois, May 31st through June 3rd. Key stops include Carroll, Iowa, Rochelle, Illinois, and West Chicago. If you're in the Chicago metro area, this window is your shot. Indiana and Ohio, June 5th through 8th. First time 4014 has operated under steam in either state. No precedent, no comparison. Upstate New York and Northeast Pennsylvania, June 9th through 12th. First time in New York since 1941. That date matters. The last person who saw this locomotive in New York was watching it ship out to a war. Pennsylvania return in early July, leading into the Philadelphia display on the 4th and 5th, then the Altoona and Horseshoe Curve window through the 11th. Return west, Missouri through Colorado, July 18th through 29th. Strong stops include St. Louis and Kansas City if you're in the Midwest and miss the eastbound leg. A few things that will actually affect your experience. There are 2 types of encounters on this tour: display days and whistle stops. Display days are multi-hour events where 4014 is stationary and you can get close. These are the ones worth traveling for. Whistle stops are short pass-bys where the locomotive slows or stops briefly before moving on. Both are worth attending, but plan your travel around display days. Stay 25 feet from the tracks. This is a safety rule, not a suggestion. The railroad enforces it. No drones. The airspace around the locomotive is restricted during operation. Don't test it. The schedule shifts. Steam operations depend on mechanical condition, weather, track access, and logistics. Dates and locations can change. Check Union Pacific's steam tracking page. That is the authoritative source. Follow it. Don't rely on secondary accounts that may be running on outdated information. One more thing. This tour has no scheduled return. Union Pacific has not announced a repeat. The people who plan this kind of operation have stated this is a single occurrence event. That doesn't mean it will never happen again. But it means there's no version of this where you can say, "I'll catch it next time." There is no next time on the calendar. If you're already thinking about which stops you can make, good. Start with the display days. Lock in Steamtown tickets now if you're in the Northeast. Mark Philadelphia on your July calendar. Get to Horseshoe Curve while the locomotive is running through it, not parked beside it. For everyone else, 85 years is a long time. The chalk marks on that smokebox were made before most of your grandparents were born. The locomotive went west, spent its life there, sat in a museum yard for half a century, got rebuilt, and is now coming home to the part of the country where it was made. That's not a marketing angle. That's just what's happening. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll keep you updated as new schedule details drop. There will be more coverage coming. Specific stop guides, vantage point breakdowns, and logistics for the biggest stops on the tour. Don't miss this one.